Volkswagen top U.S. executive was grilled yesterday on Capitol Hill over the VW emission scandal. Let's listen to a bit of what happened.
On behalf of our company and my colleagues in Germany, and me personally, I would like to offer a sincere apology for Volkswagen's use of software programs that serve to defeat the regular emissions testing regime.
So we're joined now by Marsha Blackburn. Congressman Blackburn has served in the United States Congress representing her home state of Tennessee since 2002. She is a member of that powerful House Energy and Commerce Committee, which held those hearings on the VW scandal just yesterday. She joins us from Washington. Thank you for joining us, Congressman Blackburn.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
So give us a sense of what you're trying to accomplish with this committee at this point. I mean, it appears that the problem is a very large one. We're not sure how large. What are your goals as a congressman?
Our goal is to find out exactly how this happened, when it happened, why it happened. Is it just in the VW models? We're also looking at Audi with the diesel product there having a defeat device on it. And we want to know if it is into other European makes of cars. And part of the reason of knowing why they did this is you look at the stringent environmental controls that the EU has been up against after Rio and after Kyoto, and those go into effect. And did engineers say, hey, let's re-engineer this because we can't make the car any lighter. We have standards we have to meet. We can engineer into the software a way to turn this on and turn it off at the appropriate time so that a vehicle passes its emission test, but then it doesn't compromise what is happening with their miles per gallon or miles per liter. So we want to delve a little deeper into that engineering. I will tell you this. We were very disappointed yesterday that Mr. Horn did not have more specifics for us. We would like to have known that they were beginning to isolate some of who carried this out and the reasoning of why. Yeah, we were very disappointed. Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to ask you.
Go ahead.
You are not directly responsible for regulating the emissions as a congressman. Your committee is responsible for oversight for those who do. Are you also disappointed in the regulators? After all, this problem was not discovered by the regulators. This was discovered by an outside organization.
Yes, you're exactly right. And that is one of the questions and one of the things I approached yesterday. Does the EPA have so much on their plate that they basically can't see the forest for the trees? And they're not focusing on regulations that matter? Or has there been so much put on there? Or is there a coziness between regulators and third-party testing to say, oh, this is fine and that is fine, and then they're not doing their job? So absolutely, the regulatory body bears some fault in this, and we're going to hear more from the regulators about how they're carrying out their job, what they consider to be the most important regulations, and what they kind of push to the side or take somebody else's word for it.
Congresswoman, I know you were disappointed with the amount of information that you got yesterday, but given what you know, do you believe it was a handful of isolated engineers responsible for this, or was senior management involved?
We don't know. It does concern us, and I felt as if we, on a bipartisan basis, I think you can say we felt as if we kind of got two different stories going. Either they knew about it in 2014 when the West Virginia University report came out, or they didn't know about it until September 3rd, 2015, and there was a lack of clarity around that timeline. So we do not know what the interface was with, yes, there's an awareness there's some type problem here, and how far that went up the food chain. As I asked for more specificity on the timeline, the answer I got from Mr. Horn was that Jones Day was in charge of the investigation and they were investigating. If this has been since September 3rd, and this is a systemic problem. And we have U.S.-based dealers who have lots full of product that they now have money out, and they can't sell the product. I think I'd have a little bit more of a timeline on what we're going to do to make these dealers whole, what we're going to do to make the consumers that own the cars whole, how we're going to handle these emissions tests, and how we're going to fix this problem.
And do you expect this to lead to legislation or to further regulatory action, or what do you expect to come out of all this?
I think let's get a little bit further into digging with the regulators, because yes, indeed, that's where we can go the appropriations route or go in and recall some of these regulations, reposition things they have done through the rule-making process. But bear in mind, we've got nearly 500,000 cars on the road, and there are consumers that are going to have to take an emissions test, and they're trying to figure out, is this a car that they can drive or not, or how they're going to be made whole in this situation.
Okay, thank you very much, Marsha Blackburn. Just before I let you go, I want to clarify one thing, because I've been hearing from our viewers during this. I'm calling you Congressman because my understanding that's how you prefer to be called. I'm not trying to show you any disrespect. Is that correct?
That's right. That is actually the appropriate title for the job, because being a member of the U.S. House of Representatives is not a gender-specific job.
Thank you very much.